Welcome into the Penny Bloom podcast. It is I, Colton Robertson, joined by none other than the magnificent Tavares Pennington. What's up, Tav?
How you doing? Doing good.
I'm all right.
Yeah. If you can't tell from our somber voices, we come bearing bad news.
Yeah, I'm sure you've heard. But sadly, we had to get together today to talk. We didn't have any plans to get together today and talk, but Chadwick Boseman passed on due to cancer that he'd been battling for 4 years. I was fucking devastated.
Yeah, no, that was not anything that I thought I would be seeing on a, what was that, Friday night?
Friday night, yeah. I was at work, right?
Uh-huh.
And I'm doing dishes in the back. I've been doing dishes in the back for an hour and 15 fucking minutes. My night's already bad. Okay? my night's already bad.
Yeah.
I check my phone to check the time. I'm like, you know what? I'm about to get out of here. I'm about to get the fuck out of here. What time is it? Rasheal texts me. Yo, Chadwick Boseman died.
Yo.
I go, you're fucking with me. that was my. I said, you're fucking.
Yeah,
with me.
you're
fucking with me. And he was not fucking with me.
Yeah. No. That's funny. Mine went pretty similarly. I was actually mildly drunk in the back of a pickup truck coming back from picking up free Facebook Marketplace furniture. It was really random. I don't know. Yeah, that's what we were doing. But yeah, one of them, I'm on the phone with someone else, and he's like, hey, when y'all getting back, whatever. And like, we're talking about what we're about to go do. And then someone goes, Chadwick Boseman died? And I was like, what? No. And I was like, no, Chadwick Boseman didn't die. What are you talking about? And then he goes, yeah, he did. And I was like, no, he didn't.
I was like, yo, fuck off.
Yeah, I was like, no, he didn't. And then he goes, look at his Wikipedia. And I was like, what? And then I didn't even, I like half looked. I was like, no, you're talking bullshit. Shut up. Like,
also, I don't, why go to his Wikipedia? Like, why was he on his Wikipedia?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I was trying to figure out too. But maybe that was his way of proving it, which was a pretty effective way, because when they put died August 28th, Chadwick Boseman's Wikipedia page, you believe that shit.
You do believe that shit.
And I was just like, I was on the phone with someone literally, and I go, he asked me a very direct question, and like we were not done figuring out what we were figuring out. But he asked me something, and I just go, I gotta call you back.
Like, yo, I gotta go. I cannot.
Like,
I cannot be talking to you
literally
right now.
like I was just like, I can't even like.
Yo, I
think
left
about
work
these
5
things.
minutes later. Like I was like, I have to go. I was like, I have to go, and they let me go, and I got to my car, and I was like,
bro, I was
fucking
like,
A, bro.
Like
it fucked me up. I mean, Chadwick Boseman was such a good fucking actor, and by all intents and purposes, a good fucking person. Seemed like.
Oh yeah, no, he was definitely like one of those people who I think gained his fame through his sort of his legend, the idea that what people said about him. Like nobody had a bad thing to say about Chadwick Boseman.
Never.
And that's like there's a reason for these things. Like these aren't just like creations of Hollywood. Like no, the dude was just.
I mean, he dedicated his career to putting on for his community's legends.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Jackie Robinson, James Brown, fucking Thurgood Marshall,
and you can
then the Black Panther.
And even on all doubt of Chadwick Boseman and just how iconic his career has been. Think about the fact that movies made about those individuals who he portrayed, Black Panthers, fucking Jackie Robinson, Bobby Brown,
James Brown.
To go to the same person for all of those, like, shows that there's
no
one else that could do it. Like, they were just like, we need
this man to portray every icon ever.
Yeah.
Like it's just the deal. And like there was nobody who could have played Black Panther the way that Chadwick Boseman did it. There was already a kingliness about him. You know, and I don't know how to articulate it. It's just kind of like there was this presence about him that no other person could have played Black Panther and done it quite as effectively.
No.
I was thinking, I mean, a lot about it over the last couple days. And there, you remember did you ever watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
Yeah.
You remember at the beginning when Spider-Man dies?
Yeah.
that scene always hits me really hard because it's like I already have a tie to the character Spider-Man going all the way back to my childhood. So when that scene's happened, I'm like, fuck. Like that's never happened in a story. Like in any of the Spider-Man stories that like 20 minutes into the movie, Spider-Man fucking died.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just thinking like, yo, like what if Spider-Man died? It happened. Chadwick Boseman is the superhero that died. Like, and that it resonated with me in almost the exact same way that scene resonates with me in terms of just emotions. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, a superhero died.
Yeah.
Like,
definitely.
That's what fucking happened.
Yeah, that's literally what happened. And it's just crazy because I just feel really like it's a privilege to have not had to like really deal with something of that magnitude when I was like growing up, right? Like someone who that I just grown to iconicize and just idolize drops dead, like due to cancer.
Yo, and the fact that he'd been battling it for 4 years, it was kept a complete secret. He made all those fucking movies. Like, just he's got a fucking great circle around him.
Oh,
he did.
Oh yeah.
Like to have kept that a secret and it not get out because I even remember a few months ago when those pictures were going around of him and he was looking real skinny, and like there have been a lot of people online talking about how he was getting made fun of, and like people were like calling him a crackhead and stuff, and it's like I'm don't get me wrong, I'm sure that happened given what I know about the internet.
Yeah.
But the stuff that I saw was an outpouring of support for this man during that time. I remember being on like Marvel Twitter and like seeing people just being like, I really hope this guy's okay because he doesn't like, I remember being like distinctly like, oh shit, is Chadwick Boseman okay? But then, you know, news cycle rotates.
Right.
3 days later, I'm not even fucking thinking about it.
Right.
So this news hits and I'm like, fuck. And like, and my mind's rolling when I hear it. I'm like, what, well, car accident? Like that's my go-to, obviously. Like when someone dies young, it's like that's the most likely scenario. But then I was like, stage 4 colon cancer? What the fuck? I was like, holy shit. And like I was like, fucking A, that is terrible.
No. It's tragic. But
it is tragic.
It definitely, I think that it'll cause us to not give him any, you know, discounts when it comes to his greatness and what he was when he was alive.
Oh, no doubt. I think we'll remember Chadwick Boseman for a very long time.
We definitely will.
We've got a good show ahead. We're gonna talk Black Panther today. That's the move. You know, we're gonna do the Black Panther movie, and then we're gonna return to Comic Club for issues 7 through 9 of Black Panther: The Intergalactic Empire, in honor of our King T'Challa.
In honor.
So yeah, good episode ahead of us. Let's roll the tape and rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman.
Rest in peace.
Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bomb bass. Romp past your mom, dads, listening to Tomcats, talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. Get some weed now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
So let's talk about Black Panther. It's a fucking great movie.
Just a great movie.
We're not even going to go over a synopsis, you know, because if you're here celebrating Chadwick Boseman, I'm going to assume you watched Black Panther. It was a pretty big fucking deal.
And that's the first thing we got to talk about is what a moment that movie was.
A moment.
Like I think we saw it together for
we
the
did.
first time.
We
right?
did at the
Alamo.
Yeah. Alamo Draft House, baby. That's the place to see fucking movies.
Movie theater.
Like, I love it. Whenever it's safe to do that again, we ought to do that again.
We have to.
But yeah, we saw that at the Alamo, and it was glorious.
Yeah.
I loved it.
That was quite a movie, and I remember being like, this is like even more than I ever thought it could be, because what they were doing was so like, it was just right on the head, like right on the nose.
They knew what they
they
were
needed to
doing.
be talking about in that
like,
movie.
And I'm so glad that movie was as celebrated as it was when it was. Because, dude, it was all anyone was talking about all February.
You came to school the next day, instead of saying what's up to your friend, you said, Ibambe!
Ibambe!
I swear to God, like, this is how people greet each other.
Ah! Ah! Bro, that's a great character in that movie. M'Baku.
Yo, M'Baku.
He kills shit, man.
I love even more how they wrote M'Baku in the comics that are coming out right now.
Oh,
because,
yes,
like,
dude.
That's his potential with his movie character.
Because they set that up in the Black Panther movie. The way T'Challa invites him in and is like, he's like, we can finally unite the tribes, man. Come through. And then he shows up at the end.
He's a little...
like, witness the might of the Jabari at the first hand. And I was like, fuck yeah.
Yes.
Fuck yeah, M'Baku.
Like, hell yeah. He seemed antagonistic at first. Like, you're like, oh, this dude don't fuck with nobody. But you're like, but he still got his principles. He still has his principles.
I will feed you to my children. I'm kidding. We are vegetarian. And then he just laughs his ass off.
Yeah.
I love that character. But, I mean, that movie is just chock full of fucking great characters. Yeah. And as we get more into the comics, it is interesting to see the different takes of these characters in the Black Panther universe, because Nakia is always around, and Okoye isn't around as much in the comics as she is in the movies, but she's still around. And I mean, M'Baku, like you just talked about, and especially the different takes on Eric Killmonger, those are fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And I mean, this movie's take on Killmonger is pretty kick-ass.
Yeah, no, it is. Michael B. Jordan doesn't fail.
No, he doesn't.
No.
And you know what's funny is, like, I was thinking about it. I was watching the movie last night. I tried to watch it Friday night. I got 15 minutes in, and I was like, I can't do this. I already cried like 4 times in the 15 minutes I watched it. I was like, I can't do this tonight. So I did it last night, and I was a little bit more well-adjusted.
Yeah.
And as I was watching it, I was like, is Michael B. Jordan that good of an actor? Because, like, I mean, like, he is good. Don't get me wrong. He is good, but he's particularly good at playing extreme emotions. Yeah, it's whenever he's not being extreme that you're kind of like, that he kind of loses me a little bit. Yeah, but like, I have to be consciously thinking about it for him to lose me. It's not like when I'm watching, he totally takes me out of it or anything. Yeah, but like, when that dude plays angry or extremely sad, you're like, that shit is he's
he's
as
definitely
believable as anybody.
Yeah, he comes through with a lot of passion. I think that kind of reflects in the roles that he gets. Because I mean, think about it. Like, what's the one I was thinking of? When he was in, well, just Killmonger. Obviously, he's a very passionate person. He was in
Fahrenheit 451. He was a pretty passionate person in that too.
He was. There's another one he's known for.
Creed.
Yeah, Creed. Like, the fact that he got picked for Creed I'm just like,
see, and that's what's interesting too, is because those are the particularly good roles for him. It's the full, just in your fucking face, I'm the best. Like I am carrying myself as though I will.
He's motivational.
Everything up. Like it's just I'm here to body shit.
He's motivation, and then but like that dynamic that he provides with Chadwick, I think, is the value of his casting, like, as
absolutely
Killmonger,
especially as the dichotomy of T'Challa and Killmonger. They are complete opposites,
right?
And I think Michael B. Jordan and Chadwick Boseman are a good reflection of that. Not complete opposites or anything, but they're really as good a representation of that sort of opposite thing in terms of actors as anybody. I mean, Chadwick Boseman was always really laid back. You never heard from him much. He kept very private, as we know. And but Michael B. Jordan, you hear from that dude quite a bit.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, I don't even know. Like, yeah, you do hear from more you do hear from Michael B. Jordan more. But I also feel like the fact that Michael B. Jordan has like this like you wanna follow him, right? You want to see him succeed, right? But it's like with Chadwick and T'Challa and even the other roles that Chadwick's kind of played. it feels like he's even beyond the need to watch him be successful. He's already there. Like,
yeah, it's like I don't need to watch. I don't just want to see you succeed. Like, you're already fucking doing it. Like, it's like exactly. you are what I imagine is the best.
Yeah,
pretty much everything.
Yeah, exactly. And like I saw this man in was it Letter to the King? No, was that the movie? Have you seen Letter to the King?
Yes, that's a really
was that the
good movie?
Was it set in like California or something like that?
Yeah, and he was a shit. I watched that once, and it was a while ago.
But it was set in like an urban area, right?
Yes,
like,
yeah.
okay.
I think I want to say it was in California.
Yeah, that movie. I remember I just watched that like as a one-off because I'd seen Chadwick in 42. I'd seen him in why do I keep forgetting this man's first name? The Brown.
Jackie Brown.
Huh?
Jackie Brown.
No, not Jackie Brown. Not Jackie Brown.
James Brown.
James Brown.
Jackie Brown is a Quentin Tarantino movie. My bad.
I thought you mixed the Jackie Robinson and James Brown.
That's probably where my mind was. That's probably why that happened.
But I knew him as James Brown. I knew him as Jackie Robinson, and I was just like, is this guy like actually like a good actor? Does he just kind of look like those people, and so they picked him for those roles?
Well, and see, that's the thing too, is I've never been very good at critically watching acting performances either. Like,
me either.
I'm like, if you put it on screen, I probably think I probably thought you were.
I'm like, yo, you memorized all those lines.
Exactly, but you can tell when there's like great acting.
Oh yeah,
and when you pay attention,
there are moments where you realize it.
Yes. Like when it comes through and you're like, holy fucking shit.
And so like for Black Panther, I think that moment for me at least was where like I think the acting was really it was just it became like sort of the driving part of that scene was at the end when Killmonger's dying.
Yeah.
With T'Challa, like that's just like a iconic ass
fucking
conversation.
It's
right
amazing.
There.
It's so fucking good. I was watching it last night and the coronation ceremony that they do. It's where they dude, that shit it gave me chills to the absolute max last night because it was that entire scene was just celebrating T'Challa. So like it felt very very like relevant. It was awesome, just like it was just like everyone in the crowd was just like chanting for him and everything, and he just looked on them super proud and stuff, and I was like, man, this is fucking me up.
Yeah.
And it's just so good. And that first fight with M'Baku is pretty kick ass.
Oh yeah, no, the M'Baku fight's really good. I remember that being like just the whole movie's fucking good, but the introduction to Wakanda is fucking brilliant. And just also like the care to put it in a very very modern sort of context, while making a movie about like sort of this I don't want to say dated Africa, but like they the dominant conception of Africa is that it's like a third world country, right? And so like some of those elements and biases bleed through in the movie because
they're disguising themselves as a third world nation too.
Yeah, exactly, and it's like that's just a part of the whole thing. But like they make a point of just like flipping the script on that and being like, no, actually, the most technologically advanced society is actually what seems to be a destitute African village.
Yeah.
Which is not at all which is just like it's crazy to see because like when you start Black Panther, like that's like if you don't understand that as a theme, that movie makes you understand that as a theme because one of the first introductory scenes to hit him as to Chadwick as Black Panther was what's her name taking his sister what's her name Shuri taking him on a tour of like all the like when she shows him the suit and all the new technology or whatever, like that was like in a superhero movie they've never been this tight with like all of the devices and shit.
Oh dude, that's what's cool about that movie too is they knew what they were doing. They were putting out the first black superhero and they were like, we just got to body this shit. Like we have to embody this shit. We have to embody everything great about this community. And they really fucking did in that movie. And like everything is beautiful in that movie.
Yeah, no, it is.
I mean, dude, and even like earlier in the quarantine, me and my family watched all the Marvel movies. We watched them all through in about a month or so. And when we watched Black Panther, both my parents were like, that was just different than all the other ones.
Yeah.
Like they were like critically, that was
be.
just a phenomenal fucking movie.
Yeah.
And better than almost all the other movies and ways.
That movie was like an active dialogue with the modern political moment, because like it's having this conversation of, do we need to overthrow the shit, or do we work? Do we open
our borders? Do we help refugees? Do we do this in 2018?
Do we proliferate weapons? Like, should we be like taking power, and how many like our firepower? And those are all great questions that I don't think have been asked from a black perspective, from a perspective where it's you're talking about like the liberation of oppressed black people across the world as the goal, because logically that would be the goal of any sufficiently powerful African nation, right?
Yeah.
Is that they go, hey, we have people who are who have been dispersed
around the world.
Throughout the world, and they're all being subjected to these very systemic conditions. So shouldn't we go do something about that? And it's like, how do you imagine a world where that's a possibility? And that's just like all that Black Panther is. And I think that's a cool and pretty singular sort of take.
And by the end, and at the beginning, again, T'Challa and Killmonger just have completely different views on what they should be doing. Mm-hmm. You know, T'Challa's like, we need to close our borders. I am the king of Wakanda. I am not the queen. I'm not the king of everybody. That is not the deal here. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna worry about my people. We're not gonna fuck with anybody else. This is us. And Killmonger was like, yo, there's people all over the world being oppressed, and you have the ability to stop it. Mm-hmm. His other motivation was just, oppressing the white people after.
Yeah, that was. But
which can't blame him.
the thing is, like, think about it on a flipped script. Like, what is the United States?
Yeah,
and how similar are they to Killmonger? I'd argue that they're pretty similar.
Yeah, I you're right.
the entire justification that they provide, and I think that's an intentional message in that movie, definitely. But like, the idea of imperialist conquest as a method of peace bringing is inherently flawed, because it comes with the idea that we need to Americanize these people.
Yeah, and that's a theme in so many stories throughout. I mean, like, and I always bring it back to this, but Star Wars. Yeah. Anakin is like, I have brought peace, prosperity, and justice to my new empire. You're like, yo, your new empire.
Your new empire. There's the problem.
Yo, what the fuck, man? You're just ruling with an iron fist here. Mm-hmm. That's not how this works.
That's all it devolves into, and people like. I understand the desire for like bloody revolution and all of that, but like, what happens next?
Yeah, it's like I feel I get the urge to be militant, but then it's like, what happens when the militancy is over?
Yeah,
like,
right.
When the dust settles, and
I don't want to live a life where people are just fighting all the time. I'm sorry.
But then it's like, how else does it happen? I mean, all the revolutions that have gotten us to where we are today resulted in warfare, blood.
Yeah.
It's like, ugh, it's scary.
Blood is definitely like just a way of the world, but there's, I think T'Challa was like also in the Afrofuturist vein. T'Challa was very future minded.
Yeah.
In a way that Killmonger wasn't, which is why ultimately T'Challa wins, is because he's able to kind of see beyond,
be rational.
Yeah, beyond a moment of anger, of rage. Well, I won't even say a moment, but just like acting
an active burning rage throughout his entire fucking life.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, rage is so, like, in a weird way, like, rage is momentary. right?
Yeah.
Like it's not something that necessarily persists, like
in the Boondocks.
Yeah, right. Like in the Boondocks, right? It's not something that just goes like this. Like rage goes up and down and sideways, and sometimes you feel this way and you feel that way. But like to think with a cool head, I guess, is a more adaptable kind of mindset.
Yeah, I tend to agree. And T'Challa was always going to win the battle, man. I wish it wouldn't have happened the way it did.
I know. Yeah.
But like, I also get
it made T'Challa seem like he was like, I don't know. It made him feel like a institutionalist, like he was all about.
Yeah,
like,
and see, that's the thing too. I was about to say, like, Killmonger wanted to like, his last line very famously is like, they'd rather die than suffer in bondage, and it's like, well, that tells me that Wakanda's prison system isn't doing very well.
Yeah.
You had an opportunity to rehabilitate this man, possibly. And he was like, yeah, I guess I'll die.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like T'Challa had like this weird standard for civility that I think is also flawed. Like on one side of the coin, where like this like unquenchable rage is a flawed sort of ideology. Also, it becomes like you can lean too much into being adaptable, so much so where you've like laid a fantasy world for yourself where everything is working perfectly, when in reality there are just swaths of your population dying.
Huh. Sounds familiar.
Yeah. And so, it's a balance. It's a balance.
For sure.
We've gotten real deep into like the
ideals.
Yeah, the ideals and just like the characters and their motivations and their writing. Black Panther is just a well done story.
There's so much
Ryan
there.
Coogler deserves a lot of
he deserves a lot of respect. Do you know if he wrote this movie or if he just directed it?
I don't know.
I'll look that up right now on the air. But I mean, do you want to talk about the future of Black Panther?
I mean,
like what?
I can't imagine them putting out another movie.
See, and that's the thing, is that I think so much of their universe was about to be centered around Wakanda.
Really?
That they can't abandon it completely. So I think moving forward, they're going to use Shuri as Black Panther. Because you can't recast it. You can't. T'Challa's Chadwick Boseman. There's no other option. It's done. But maybe there's not another actual Black Panther movie.
I don't think there can
But
be.
if they keep showing up in the universe, the Wakandans, which they almost certainly have to, given that they have all the vibranium and stuff, and now that's well known. They're about to open their borders and become more open. I'm guessing that Shuri and Nakia are going to be a very big part of what we see going forward, and therefore Okoye will probably be there with them whenever.
Yeah, I don't know. My instinct is to just say it's over, it's done, like just because like that's a common thing for movies, right? It's just to have that the movie.
Yeah, and seeing like that's the thing is like I if they chose to do that, I'd
like what if
I support that course of action, like. But I also see the perspective where they've built this universe.
That's the problem. That's where the problem's coming in, because they've built Wakanda is a fixed part of the Marvel universe at this point, and if they continue on with their, I don't really hesitate that much to call it an empire, but their empire of movies, which they will into the foreseeable future because it's Marvel and it's Disney, and they're going to make the money, but it's going to be an issue with how they address.
What's going on? Yeah, and that's what makes me think maybe the best course of action is just, with the end of the Infinity Saga after Endgame, you could probably just cut ties. I think, like, not cut ties, but like not. Not bring it up again, but then that feels like a disrespect.
That was my other thing.
That feels like a slight to the Black Panther.
They can't do nothing, but they
because he was a huge part of 4 movies.
Yeah, Yeah, he was.
Civil War, Infinity. I mean, at least a huge part in Civil War, Infinity War, and Black Panther. Obviously, I mean, Endgame. He got dusted at the end of Infinity War, so he didn't show up again until the end. But his moment in Endgame is about as important as any moment in that film when he's the first to come through.
Yeah, yeah.
God, what a fucking great moment.
I also can't imagine him not saying anything, because that would be even weirder, just with how big it is. And how big Black Panther was when it came out. Like, that it was fucking thing. The whole month of February, I remember. Like, that's all anybody talked about.
See, and, like, people talked about Endgame and Infinity War that way. But nobody talked about another solo movie like that.
Nobody talked about a solo movie like that.
Nobody talked about a solo movie like that. I mean, that
movie had white people asking if it was okay to go see it. Like, yo, people.
They were like, "Is it all right with you guys?"
Yeah. Everybody's like, "Bro, what?"
I remember seeing that shit and being like,
am I not allowed to watch Harry Potter?
Like, bitch, it's a movie. Go see the movie. But yeah, dude, it's such a specific and distinct time in my life.
Yeah. When
I think to February 2018, because it is just shrouded in Black Panther.
And the album.
And the fucking I've been listening to that.
Good.
Especially on Friday, because I was like, I wasn't ready to watch anything yet.
Yeah.
But I wanted to sulk a little bit in this. I was like, you know what? I'm thinking about it. Might as well lean into it. So I listened to the Black Panther album, and there were a few songs that they hit a little harder, just because of the circumstances. Like I Am by Georgia Smith. That one went really hard. Seasons, one that never really hit for me. Well, I mean, it always hit, but I never listened to it much, you know?
The Black Panther song.
Itself is...
hit.
The end was, I am T'Challa. I am T'Challa. I was like, fuck. Fuck. And it's such a good album.
Yeah, that was a good album. Not really. I was like, why doesn't every movie do this? This is fucking awesome.
This is fucking extraordinary. Yeah, do you got anything else to say about Black Panther? Do you want to talk about any of the other roles? Any other things?
No, I think we covered basically all the general thoughts that I've had concerning that movie.
It's a fucking phenomenal movie.
Was a really good movie.
And now it is forever. I mean, it was already immortalized in a different. It's immortalized in a different realm than all the other Marvel movies.
I'm just, glad he got to see it. Glad he got to become T'Challa.
Dude,
I can't imagine who else would have been T'Challa.
I can't. No, nothing would be right. Nothing would fit. It's just not right.
It's just not right.
Let's talk some more Black Panther and Comic Club. What do you say?
I'm ready.
Let's go. So, we got Black Panther, the Intergalactic Empire of Wakanda, issues 7 through 9 today. A few weeks back, we covered 4 through 6, and the week before that, issues 1 through 3. So if you want to follow along Black Panther, the Intergalactic Empire of Wakanda, we've got a little companion podcast for it. Go back and read those. But these issues today are written by Ta-Nehisi Coates, drawn by Kev Walker. The colors are done by Stephanie Petro. The lettering is done by VC's Joe Sabino, and the cover art is by Paulo Rivera and Daniel Acuna. On all the issues, it's the same exact rundown on all of them. Doesn't happen often. There's usually one or two changes.
They got a tight team.
It's pretty cool. So on issue 7, we open on N'Jadaka and his wife discussing their daughter's growing interest in the Empire, and immediately the colors here are gorgeous. The soft yellow glow that's on his wife. It's fucking cool, and she's a little. Do you take his mom as a little concerned? Or her mom is a little concerned. His wife.
Yeah, definitely looks like she's a little.
I think this is another example of the blind fanaticism that we saw in Jojo Rabbit and stuff. She's like, "Oh fuck yeah, the Empire's so fucking cool. My dad runs this shit." She's like, "Oh, look at this picture of Manifold" on the next page. And N'Jadaka goes and talks to her one-on-one, and he invites her to come see the fortress where the Empire does its business on planet Bast, which, again, super cool fucking name.
Very cool.
And she's fucking astounded by this. She's very, very happy to hear it. We then switch to a pleasure ship. And we follow some random fucking guy.
Yeah, I was like, I don't. When I was reading it, I was like, I don't think I know who this is.
Yeah, we were like, we're following some random dude, and he has some conversation with some lady, and we're like, okay, cool. Guess I'll follow this for a while.
I guess I'll follow this.
And turns out, this some lady is a secret agent for the Maroons. They're listening in back on the Mackendal, and we learned that their ship is cloaked by some sort of technology powered by the M'Kron shard, which we learned about in the previous issues, and we've learned that that's going to somehow help the Nameless get their memories back. Mm-hmm. You'll find that over the next couple issues, there's a lot of things that, in theory, should help get the Nameless memories back.
Yeah,
it's like every single issue is like centered around a mission where they're retrieving something that'll help get the Nameless's memories back. And I mean, it's a pretty central theme of the whole thing, but like
that. Yeah, I think we talked about. I think I talked about that when we first started it, but like I did not even expect it to be that big of a
so much mention of plundering.
Oh,
in the next 3 issues.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Just there was that one instance of it in the previous 6, but like in the next 3 comics, I think it's used like 3 or 4 times.
Really?
It's and I was like, fuck yeah. I was like, we love that word here.
Oh, we love that word here.
The Mackendal decloaks and fires on the pleasure ship. I was like, oh damn! So we go into war then. But that random dude takes the secret agent lady up to his safe room, and he starts spilling his secrets about how important he is, and how he's going to take her to Planet Bast. We're going to Njadaka's court. Come on, baby. We're gonna have a good time.
Let's roll.
Let's go. And well. Next, she lets down an intricate digital disguise, and turns out some secret agent lady was Nakia the whole time. I don't know how they got this technology. I'm assuming some more M'Kron shard shit, because all the M'Kron shard stuff has that like pinkish glow.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking it has something to do with that. Mm-hmm. But you
Probably.
know, that's some pretty intense technology there. What's that?
Do you know if... well, actually, go ahead. We're about to get there.
Okay. And during all this, M'Baku trusts T'Challa with his feeling that they should wait before sending in an assault team to this pleasure ship. T'Challa was like, you know what? Just chill for a second. I have a feeling things are going to work out. Nobody has to get hurt today. And M'Baku was like, fucking hey, kid, I'll trust you, but shit. And there's a pretty good... impactful section here on page 18 and 19, and I'll read it out loud here. Like, it's M'Baku talking. He says, like all empires, the Empire of Wakanda is counterfeit. It is a confederacy of villains who've elevated criminality to galactic law. The Empire creates nothing. It enlightens no one. Because as the great Shangamire taught, empires do not enlighten, they plunder. First example of the plunder usage there. In this field, I must admit, the Empire has been a pioneer. The font of the Empire's great powers is the archive, its vast collection of knowledge, all of it plundered from the memories of the millions they've enslaved. More than the might of Njadaka, the archive is the font of imperial power. It is the archive that gave the Empire its culture and technology. It's just all about how they mined culture and just took all the best parts of all these different societies all around the universe and just mined that shit. And they used it to keep gaining knowledge. Like, that's...
I just fucking love Ta-Nehisi
Coates,
man.
It's so good. It's like, that's such good writing.
Like, the archive is the font of imperial power. The font of imperial power.
Bro, and like... The archive is a representation of a very real thing.
Yeah.
It's the stealing of cultures and the imperialism overall. Mm-hmm. Just and that reminds me of another great part of the Black Panther movie when Shuri is greeted by the CIA agent. Mm-hmm. And she's like, don't scare me like that, colonizer. He's like, no, my name is da-da-da-da. And she's like, I know. I'm like, you're white and you're a cop. So double whammy.
Yeah, no, but also, like, you got to take into account, like, what he's saying when he says that when he says the Empire, and when he says, like, the archive, when he's using these words to refer to, like, the objective sort of reality of empire or archival knowledge, he's using it to overlay, like, a modern context on this story, right? Or to put a timeless sort of element into how he describes the violence of the story, because what hasn't been done enough is that people look at these nations and they say, oh, this nation did this very bad thing, they did this bad thing, and it caused them to be bad, like just generally bad people, and nobody likes what they did. Once everyone becomes of the moral knowledge that allows them to be like, oh, that's reprehensible.
Yeah, that's fucking.
Instead,
that's shitty.
His focus is always on the objective terms, which is weird because he's writing a comic book about a very specific place, and he's always saying the Empire, the plant. Like, it's always like these actions. Not
I know, and again, I know I bring it back to this always, but again, this was part of what made George Lucas' Star Wars so fucking timeless, is the use of the Empire, the rebellion. These are timeless stories that can be told because there's always going to be a big guy and a little guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, more that's more applicable to the Star Wars thing. This cuts much more deep, I think, in terms of its actual intention. But but it is what it is. Following that, we learned that the random guy that we were following is the chief technologist for the Empire, and he takes care of the archive. So M'Baku's plan is, you know what? We're gonna mine this dude's brain. We're gonna mine his brain. We're gonna archive his knowledge, show him what it's about. And it was right here that I was like, man, I fucking love M'Baku. If you watch the Hamilton film on Disney Plus, his character reminds me a lot of George Jackson's portrayal of George Washington in that. Like, it's just, they elevate George Washington in that to be like this like godly leader. And I feel like right here is where M'Baku really comes into his own. Is like, I don't know why, I just feel like he's like, this is my shit, okay? Yeah. I am here to protect these people. Yeah. I will do what must be done.
M'Baku's the best first general ever created.
It's true. He gives a very rousing speech. He says, we are going to avenge its victims and make them whole, because the Empire didn't simply steal our technologies and culture. They stole our lives. Let us fight for our memories, comrades. Let us recover our names. And I was like, fuck yeah! M'Baku! Back on planet Bast, Emperor Njadaka is receiving a brief on their missing technologist, which we just learned where he is. He's getting his knowledge mined by the Maroons. He wants to find and interrogate him. He's like, yo, you've been gone for 2 weeks. I need to know what the fuck you've been doing. That's what he wants to do at this point. And during all this, Njadaka's daughter is just enthralled by this guy murdering people. She's just watching this dude cut these people up, and she's like, yeah, fuck yeah, this is cool.
Hell yeah.
And her eyes have this like weird green glow. And later on, his daughter becomes a much bigger part of the story. But as of right now, I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, why are her eyes glowing green? Yeah. And then we learn that the dude who is cutting people up right there is the man inside the manifold suit. And he appears to be under some sort of control, because his eyes also have that green glow, which I don't know what that. I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious as to what that implies. Ready to go on to the next book?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, indeed. So, book 8, we got the same creative team here. This one was actually the Stan Lee Memorial issue.
Yeah, so I'm assuming Stan Lee died around about when this came out?
Yes. Yeah, it would have been right. And I've actually read a lot of comic books from, I'm guessing, this specific month, because I've revisited a lot of 2019 comics and 2018 comics, and I guess just I stumble upon these all the time, these Stan Lee Memorial issues, and every time I'm like, fuck. And like this one, I was like reading Black Panther and Stan Lee, and I was like, oh god, and everything just everything sucks. But then in the next book, we see T'Challa break into an Imperial freighter with Nakia on the comms, and when he gets in there and kicks some Ascari ass, he finds the vibranium that they were looking for. But he also finds a lot more. He finds that there are some people being trafficked, about to be enslaved by the Empire, which is a fucking problem.
Yes, sir.
And he's like, yo, we got to stop this shit right now. But Nakia says to leave them. They are not assets the way T'Challa was when they looked for him and found him. And I was like, fuck, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get it. Like, you got to be practical. You're running a rebellion and stuff. But, like, come on. Like, you got an opportunity to save slaves here. Like,
yeah, right.
Like, what? And T'Challa makes this point here in a few pages. He's like, what the fuck are we doing this for if not to do exactly this?
Yeah, exactly.
And Nakia's not afraid to get on his ass here. Not afraid at all. She really tears into him. And she's like, get the vibranium, get the fuck back out here, and don't bother coming back without it. I was like, okay, Nakia, show him what's up.
Yeah, I mean, she's very...
She's like, I know we've been getting friendly, so you think you can get away with shit here. But yo, listen, this is the way it is. And I was like, okay, Nakia, I fucks with you. And I'd be willing to bet she's... oh wait, no, this is later in the comic. Never mind. I was about to kind of spoil some shit. But
it comes from like the two perspectives. Like ultimately, come down to really well to how T'Challa says it. Like, you know, there are two classes of cargo in here. One is vibranium, and the other is something much more.
Yeah,
like it's like someone's priorities are straight. And like while Nakia has, you know, valid argument to say that, you know, there's a mission that takes priority here, while there is like. There's also, like, you know, the reason for the mission in the first place, which kind of, you know, precedes the actual mission.
Absolutely.
And, you know, it's a rule. It's
the overarching purpose of what you're doing.
Yeah, it's the rule of law versus the spirit of the law. Like, what are you doing the thing for?
Yeah, and I mean, but again, Nakia, her point here is vibranium is the second thing besides the Imkron shard that is going to help them get their memories back. So, I don't know what they're building here, but it requires Imkron shard and vibranium, which both seem like extremely, extremely rare tools to find.
Yeah.
Next, we see M'Baku and Nakia discussing T'Challa, how he is a great warrior, but he's not a great soldier. Doesn't know how to listen. He's like, you know what? I do what the fuck I want because I can.
Because I can.
All right? That's what's going on here. And next, T'Challa stumbles upon a group of aliens. And he's like, yo, what the fuck going on? And they're being tortured by the Ascaris. And I was like, fuck. And like, I like the art here with T'Challa's just mouth agape, like, oh, fuck. Or not mouth agape, but teeth clenched. He's like, oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really dark, but really good.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the imagery there. And T'Challa sees no other action but to be about that action. And I fucking love it. The art here is pretty much my favorite of any fight that we ever see in this comic book. I like and it's what's weird is I usually enjoy the vibrant pages with a lot of color, but these are relatively dull tones with like the faded blue-green and the orangish yellow in the background. But I like this Black Panther suit too. I know it's the suit of all the maroons, but like that's a really cool design.
I like it more that it's a universal design sort of, because it makes it's like
it makes it a community, more of a communal thing too.
Right, like it's like the idea of a village is that everyone has to be on the same page, and that's what it kind of embodies, especially in a scenario where like the village itself doesn't really exist.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a fucking cool suit.
It is.
It's a fucking cool suit.
It's a cool suit.
Period. And when he saves them, he then has to tell them, now go back to your cells. And they're like, well, what the fuck are you doing here? He's like, you, and like this dude recognizes him. He's like, it's you. you're the dude who put the knife where it belonged. And he's like, yeah, but get back to your cell. And he's like, well, but dude,
yeah,
you're the guy who put the knife where it belonged. And he starts explaining, the father of this family starts explaining, yo, we just got taken. We still have our memories. Like, you can save us, and like, I know your big plan is to give us all our memories back, but like, we still have our memories. You can get us the fuck out of here right now.
Right now, like, let's go.
Like, yeah, and while he's explaining this, one of the Askari that T'Challa beat the shit out of rises up and shoots the father in the back, and it's quite sad. Mm-hmm. He falls into the arms of T'Challa, and he says, "Oh, child, no, not a child at all, a hero, a king." And I was like, "Fuck." I mean, like, it was all of it's just the timing of which everything happened here. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, God damn it. Not a child, not a hero, child. A king. And I was like, oh, God. T'Challa gives the kid his mask, and he sends him crawling through the vents. And then T'Challa goes to fucking work. And this is a good example of how him taking off that mask separated him from that community.
Yeah.
He took off the mask and he's like, all right, I'm going to do shit my way. This is me. This is T'Challa. This ain't the Maroons. Mm-hmm. And he single-handedly wipes out the crew of this fucking freighter and then steals the whole fucking thing. Mm-hmm. He's like, you know what? I could have just taken the vibranium. I could have just made it out with these people. But you know what? I'm going to just demolish everybody here. And, you know, I'm gonna take the whole thing. Yeah. I'm gonna take the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, it seems like, I'm not sure how if it's being written to be ambiguous as to whether or not, you know, this is the right thing to do necessarily. But it seems like he's having some Killmonger moments.
He goes to work. Like, he does some fucking damage, and I think in this next one he straight up throws a spear through a guy. If I'm not mistaken. I think I don't have very many notes on the next comic either. These ones were pretty dialogue, light on dialogue, so like I didn't have to take many notes. It was mostly just the story was told through images. So it was I like those comics though. Yeah, it makes it easy to read, and it's really, and often they're very fun because the art's just fucking beautiful. But if we will, on to issue 9, last one for the episode, and we open up on planet Agwe, where Nakia and T'Challa are aiding the Jinga with an assault on the Empire. Their mission is to defeat the traitors who have infiltrated the Jinga and liberate the Jangu Scale in one fell swoop. The Jangu Scale, another thing that will help the Nameless get their memories back. So that's three straight issues where it was like, yo, we're pursuing something that will help us get the memories back. Yeah. And then right here we get some pretty fucking beautiful underwater art, which is hard to make look good, I think. Like, and to effectively portray that you're underwater. Yeah. Like, I can tell this whole thing takes place underwater. It's pretty fucking killer. Yeah, and with all the bubbles and them, like, it's cool. I like the art a lot. Art is crazy. And you even get like details like the reflection of the ship in T'Challa's helmet on page 9. It's impeccable drawing, and the energy weapon blast, the submariner vessels and shit. It's all very, very cool. Yeah. T'Challa charged headfirst into being surrounded by the traitors, and when he called Nakia for help, it appears there was some kind of explosion. Something go boom, and T'Challa and Nakia awake after this explosion, bound by some weird handcuff situation. They are in a rebel hideout on Agwe, so it's kind of strange that they woke up here. Yeah. I was like, yo, what the fuck going on then? Yeah. They talk to a dude named Farouk, who has stolen the spear of Bashenga. They go back and forth about how T'Challa and Nakia have been deceived, and he frees them, and he explains the Jangu's history, how their species evolved from the Jangu, and it was eventually hunted to extinction by the Empire. I was like, and this is Niami's species, by the way, the leader of the Maroons before she died. a few issues ago. So I thought that was interesting too, that they evolved from just this giant kaiju style monster fish. This is fucking dope.
It's just unexplainable.
I love that though. Like that's one of my favorite aspects of like intergalactic anything is the creation of these species.
Yeah,
because they're also, you have to create something brand new.
Oh yeah, you definitely do.
I love shit like that. Farouk tells them that one Jangu survived, and that it is the Jangu who told the enslaved Nameless who they are, and now they must free that Jangu. He explains that Jafari is actually the one who betrayed Niami's ideals. He didn't care about the galaxy as a whole, just his planet. Kind of reflective of T'Challa and Black Panther himself. He was like, but not to this point. Yeah. Jafari was willing to sell out other people in order to benefit his own place.
Yeah.
T'Challa wouldn't have done that shit.
No,
it was like,
of course not.
But yeah, he's like, you know what? I'll sell you all out, and I'll have my peace with the Empire. That's the deal. And when an explosion erupts, you think perhaps Jafari is making his move. But we see Manifold in all his glory. And that's the end of the issue.
Quick one.
It was a very quick one. Again, not a lot of dialogue, a lot of action through the art, and I love the Manifold's design. It's so fucking cool.
It's pretty cool.
I would love to see that brought to life in live action somehow. And I need to learn more, because I've never read any other comics with the Manifold in it. That might be a Ta-Nehisi Coates original. I'd have to look into that, but I'd be very interested in finding out if that character has ever been on any comic page before, or if that's an original design by the artists in Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Yeah.
It's fucking kick-ass. But, yeah, this was cathartic for me.
The comic?
No, talking about Black Panther.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was sending a message.
No, it all felt felt good to talk about things.
Yeah, no, it did. It's always good to do that. Yeah, I just did not want to be recording this episode.
I did not want to be recording it either, but I had to.
Yeah,
I had to.
We had to. It was only right. It was only right. We
had to pay homage to the legend.
Yeah, and everything he stood for, because I think that like a lot of what he stood for is what Black Panther stood for.
I agree. Just he embodied that character so well,
and that's how the greatest actors do it. Like there is no Tony Stark without Robert Downey Jr. Yeah. Like there just isn't. Like who's a better one? You can't tell me. You can't.
Man, Chadwick Boseman.
And it really shows the power of film too, and just like how like the simple portrayal of these characters bleeds over into like the actual person.
Yeah, and see, I was thinking about this very thing the other night, because me and my family talked about it for a little bit too, but it evolved into a conversation about celebrities' deaths and stuff about like how to deal with that and stuff like that. And it's like, it's okay to grieve a celebrity's death, you know, like just because you didn't know a person doesn't mean you weren't connected to them, especially if they provided you with a connection through art.
Yeah. Like
I think back to Mac Miller. Like I listened to his music all my fucking life. Of course, I was devastated when he died. I think back to even Kobe Bryant when he died. I watched him play basketball all my fucking life. That shit was art. I connected.
I couldn't believe that that happened this year. Kobe did. This fucking year, man. This year.
Fuck me up, man.
This whole year is just
it's a shit show.
It's a shit
show. And that was another thing me and my family talked about. It seems like every year we get to a point in the year where we're like,
every
fuck
year.
This year.
What is going to be the outcome of this? Because I feel like we've been saying the same thing since 2016.
No,
basically.
But here's the thing, though. I think this year puts into perspective how not bad the other years were.
Trump was our president.
I guess we have been saying it every year since. Yo,
yeah.
The last year that everyone goes, that was fucking great, was Summer 16. Guess when he got elected? November 16. Yo, it's the only explanation.
Oh my God.
The nation has been in just turmoil ever since.
If that's not enough proof, what is?
I mean, that's just on the surface right there. It's like, it is literally all over Twitter. Stop talking about Summer 16.
The world is different now.
World is different now because
you remember. I remember Summer 16 because that was the summer for Free came out, and that was just such an iconic ass summer song to me for some reason. Like, would you fuck me for free? I was like, oh shit, that's hard, Drake.
That's hard, Drake. Yeah. Yeah, last good year. But I'm happy we got to celebrate Chadwick with this episode. I feel like we talked a lot about Black Panther and that he embodied that. He embodied that character well.
He did.
So we'll sign off here. I am Colton Robertson. That's the magnificent Tavares Pennington.
Yes, indeed.
Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. Peace, love, and bloom. And, as always, praise Keanu Reeves.
As always.